Hi everyone, and welcome to this short video. Let's talk about how to write a reference for books using the new Harvard referencing style, which will come into effect at Southern Cross University on November the 1st, 2022. So here are the elements that you'll need to reference a book correctly. You can usually find this information on the front or back cover, or somewhere on the first couple of pages of the book, or in the library catalogue. Ebooks and online books have a slightly different way of being referenced, and this will be covered later in the video. So here's an example of a library catalogue. Let's see where the referencing information is usually found. You'll need the author name or names, the year of publication, the title of the book, any edition number, the publishing company, and lastly, the place of publication. The place of publication is the location or city of the publisher. If more than one place is listed, just use the first one, or the one that's highlighted in bold type if there is one. If no city is listed, you can just use the state. So here is the basic format for referencing a book in Harvard style. This is how to arrange the referencing information that is drawn from our catalogue. First, there are the authors, keeping the authors' names in the same order as they appear in the book. Start with the author's last name, followed by their initial. There is a comma to separate the first two authors, but we place an "and" before the last author's name, not an ampersand. Notice that in Harvard style, we do not use full stops to punctuate the author's initials. After the last author's initial, we have a space before the year of publication, which is in brackets. This is followed by the title of the book, which is in italics and sentence case. Sentence case just means capitalizing the first word of the title and any proper nouns. Next, we have the publisher name, followed by a comma, and the place of publication, followed by a full stop. So let's have a look at how our book fits with this format. First, we have the author's last names and their initials. Our book has only two authors, so we simply use an "and" before the last author's name, not a comma. See that after the last author's initial, we have a space before the year of publication. Then, after the year of publication, we have the title of the book, which is in italics and sentence case. Notice how this title has two parts. After a colon or dash, the next word is in lowercase. Then comes the publisher name, a comma, and the place of publication, which is usually the city and a full stop. Now, what if our book was an edited book or a book in another edition? Again, we can find all the information on the first few pages of the book itself, or in the library catalogue. So let's have a look at this example for the information we need. The editor's name, the year of publication, the title of the book, the edition number, and this book appears to be in its first edition, the publishing company, and the place of publication. Here's an example of the format we use for referencing an edited book. Notice that the elements follow the same pattern as our previous example, but instead of the author names, there are the names of the editors. For the in-text citation, the abbreviation et al. Is used for 3 or more editors. Only the first editor's surname is cited. In the reference list, again, there is a comma separating the first two editors and an "and" separating the last two editors. Then, after the last initial comes the abbreviation for the word editors, which you can see is eds, all in lowercase, and this information is contained within round brackets. Then comes the year of publication. Note that there is no comma between the editor information and the year of publication. There is only a space before the book title, publisher, and place of publication. So let's have a look at how our book fits with this format. First comes the editor's last names and their initials. As our book has 3 editors, we have used commas to separate the first 2 editors and an "and" before the last editor's name. After the last editor's initial is the editor information contained in round brackets, and then a space before the year of publication. Next comes the title of the book, which is in italics and sentence case. Notice that in sentence case, we use capitals for the first word of the title as well as for names or proper nouns, so we have capitalized the name Wiley Blackwell as well. The title is followed by a comma, and then we have the publisher name, a comma, and the place of publication. Now let's take a look at how to reference a book in an edition other than the first edition. Here is the basic format for referencing a book in another edition. Note that all the elements follow the same pattern as our earlier examples. Only in this example, you can see the edition information is placed after the title of the book. Notice that this information is in abbreviated form. The letters EDN stand for the word edition. The edition information is followed by a comma before the publisher of the book. So let's look at an example. Again, our reference starts with the author's names followed by a space and then their initials. The two authors are separated by an and. After the last author's initials, we have a space before the date, 2020, in round brackets. Next comes the title in italics and sentence case. Now this book is in its 5th edition, and this information is after the title in abbreviated form. Then after the edition information, a comma is included, followed by the publication name and location, and finally a full stop. Now sometimes a book has been revised since its earlier published version, but it's not a new edition. This can happen when the author has made minor updates to the content or has corrected it in some way, but these changes aren't substantial enough to warrant it being an entirely new edition. If this is the case, include the abbreviation for revised edition, denoted here by the letters EDN space REV, followed by the comma. If you are using a book with a DOI, you don't need to put in the place of publication. If you use an ebook from the library, you can reference it just like a print book. However, some open access ebooks will not have a place of publication. Now you can see all the books discussed in this video have been included in this example references list. The reference list should always begin on a new page at the end of your document, with the heading References in bold and centered at the top of the page. You can see that the references have been arranged in alphabetical order based on the first author's surnames. Remember to include all the works you cited in your assignment in your reference list at the end of your paper. So now you know how to reference books and ebooks in the Harvard style. We hope this has been helpful. There is more information too, so don't forget you can access SCU's online reference guides through a link on the library homepage to explore further. And happy referencing. We'll see you next time.